Hello guys, Joe with BitRage. So I wanted to talk to you about this sell here. How did we know weeks ahead of time this sell was going to happen? How did we know? We were talking about it back in here. So how did we know that it was going to happen? And you can go back, watch our videos, go back and watch the live stream where we talked about this. We've been talking about this for weeks, and now it happens. So how did we know? Well, I want to back up and kind of give you a background where I came from in trading and my journey. So when I first started learning how to trade, it was very complicated. I didn't understand a whole lot of what was going on, and I went through every strategy I could find. In that process, I found that most strategies teach a very ambiguous style where you don't actually understand what the market is doing half the time. And that really frustrated me because if I don't understand what the market is doing, even if I'm making profit, it's not going to be sustainable because eventually I'm going to get caught on the wrong side because I just don't understand what's going on. So I began to do some research and I discovered market structure. Now, the market structure that I was taught was a very simplistic method. It was simply whenever you see an M pattern, that's bearish. Whenever you see a W pattern, that's bullish. And I began to look at this and I found that it is accurate. It's true. Whenever you have these patterns, it's typically a very bullish or bearish sign. And so I thought, okay, hang on a minute. If the market follows that kind of structure, if there are those kind of structures within the market, does the market follow other kinds of structures? Are there things that happen prior to a sell or prior to a buy that we can anticipate and capitalize on that? And so I began to do some research. I began to do some back testing. And what I found is that what the market responds to is not indicators. It doesn't respond to the EMAs and MAs and all of these things. It doesn't respond to RSI and it doesn't respond to MACD. It doesn't respond to indicators. What I found is that the market responds to patterns and structure. And that gave me an amazing amount of clarity. So I began to understand, okay, hang on a minute. When we have a sell, the market will give us that indication. In this case, we started to move in a very corrective way. We get the sell. I started to see these kinds of structures and think, okay, hang on. If that happens, then is there a pattern? Is this something that happens often? And I found that it is. It happens all the time. So I began to look at these moves and I began to see, okay, we had a move down, a short-term move up, and then it just continues the selling. And so what I began to find is that natural progression in the market is impulse, correction, impulse. That's natural progression. It works both ways. When we have a long, natural progression is impulse, correction, impulse. And that started to give me a lot of clarity. And I started to develop the strategy that we teach now. Now, this strategy has not come about easy. It's taken a lot of work. We've put a lot of time into it. But now we have perfect clarity within the markets. There is never a time where we see something within the markets that we don't understand. There's never a time where we're left wondering. We always know what to expect. We always know what the market can give us. That kind of clarity is not taught in very many places, and I would argue it's hardly ever taught. And that's why we created the course that we have now, because we want you guys to have the clarity that we have. So you can go into the market, see it for what it is, know what to expect, and then capitalize fully on it. Because I don't want you guys ever left wondering what the market can give you. I don't want you guys ever caught in a move like this, not understanding what is going on and then going long, or caught in a move like this and going long here at the top. I don't want you guys ever to not know what is going on. That's why we created the course, because I know what that's like. I went through that. I struggled through that. It was incredibly frustrating, but it's incredibly freeing to have that clarity. So what we found is the market follows structure and patterns. That's what the market follows. You can use other things to help you as confluence, as a confirmation, you could say, but just looking at market structure and the patterns the market gives you will give you all the information you need to be a successful, consistent trader. So if we move back to my chart here where I have the trend in, where I have structure and I have the pattern in, this sell does not come at a surprise in the least. We have a move down, the market moves up in this very corrective manner, and then it sells. That's natural progression, right? Because if you backtest, natural progression is impulse, correction, doesn't matter how big the correction is, it can go out a long time, impulse. That's natural progression. And it works both ways, long and short. So if we just look at Bitcoin here, you can see just a corrective move to the upside. We jump down to the 4 hour. This was incredible. It gave us the exact scenario that we talked about in the live stream. So we were in here, the market moves up, and then it just gives us this pattern. If you don't understand this pattern, what I would tell you is do some back testing. But I will just tell you what it means. Whenever you have a big corrective ascending channel like this, and then you move up to the top and get a smaller ascending channel within the bigger ascending channel, that's like an incredibly high probability pattern to see it reverse. It works both ways. You have a descending channel on the bottom, incredibly high probability that's going to reverse. We see it just corrects here for a while and then sells. So you could argue that it is manipulation, and I would not argue with that at all. I am sure without a shadow of a doubt within these moves, there are crooked exchanges that have taken advantage of it. No doubt within my mind that is the case. But if you just look at it from a structural point of view, the pattern played out exactly to the T how you would expect it to play out if you understand how the market moves, the nature of how the market behaves. So if we just look at the 1 hour here, again, just a very clear ascending channel. Within this ascending channel, we had a smaller one, right? You could have even looked at it like this. If you looked at it like that, took a short, you would have been totally fine. So now, just looking at it, the pattern has completed. It played out exactly as you would expect. What's happening now is the first measurable correction. So remember I talked about natural progression is impulse, correction, and then impulse. It applies here as well. So this is the first measurable correction that we've had. Typically when you have this clear of an impulse, the first measurable correction will be a very high probability pattern to continue that move. And so what I'm expecting here with this pattern is to see it continue and sell. So it doesn't have to sell straight from here though. It could just move like this for a while and then sell. But just keep an eye on it because it will sell and it will complete. As a target, we're looking at least to the beginning of the correction. So we're looking at least to here as a minimum to see the market move. So right around 5,900, 6,000, we're going to see it reach that area. It's going to happen just based on how the market does behave. But I wanted to do this video and talk a little bit about clarity within the markets. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication to get to a point where we have the level of clarity that we do now, really understanding the behavior of the market, how these patterns form, how they do play out. Having that kind of clarity is priceless. And so if you're struggling within the market, if you're trying to learn how to trade and you're making losses and you really just don't understand what you're doing, you don't understand what the market is doing, click the link in the description. We have a course on how to trade. It teaches our exact strategy, one that we've had incredibly high success rates with. We've got guys in the course that are making incredible trades. They're profiting like crazy. Now, these guys are putting in the effort, and let me tell you, you're not going to get the results without the effort put in. But if you put in the effort, the results are there, the rewards are there. So if you're interested in learning how to trade, if you're interested in having the clarity to know what the market is doing at all times in every condition, click the link in the description. Check out our course. If you have a question, leave it in the comments or shoot us a message there on the website. Be happy to answer any of your questions. So hope this video was informative, gives you an idea of where we're coming from, our journey, and how we can anticipate these moves, how we can forecast these moves, understand what the market can give us, and how to capitalize on it. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.